Hello everyone, I am Vinoda. I work as assistant professor at Tiruthangal College. In this video, I am going to teach you a subject, the fundamental framework for reading English literature. So I am going to concentrate on two units. We are going to see literature, humanities and empathy, ethics, diversity and inclusivity. So in the first unit, it says humanity. What does mean by humanity? You may all know what is humanity as in general, but in literature or as an academic, we are going to see what is humanities. Humanities is a cluster of academics such as philosophy, literature, history, arts and everything. So other than literature, there are humanities subjects also in academics. So we are going to see how humanities and other genres or other academic things, how it is related to literature. How we can relate with history, philosophy and other things with literature in this video. So the first, what is literature? You may all know the literature means it's about a poetry or a drama or a prose, a short story or whatever it is. But in real, literature is all about life. It will teach you how to be a human, it will teach you how to see life, or it will teach you how to reach things, or it will give you a perspective, different perspective of life itself. Next, the central role of English literature in the humanities. The literature is a core humanities subject. So on the whole, literature is the one most important core subject in humanities. Next, explores the human condition, connects students to diverse culture and perspectives. So it explores the human condition. When you read a short story or when you read a poetry or a drama, whatever it is, you are going to read about human. You are going to read about different culture. You are going to read about different kinds of human. You are going to read about their minds, everything. Next, it connects the students to diverse culture and perspective. So that when you're reading an American literature drama or when you're reading an American literature poetry, you're going to read or you're going to understand their lifestyle, their diversity, their religion or the lifestyle of the particular community or the lifestyle of the particular religion. That is how it connects all the religion or it connects all the community or it is diverse. Next, literature and the human experience. We are going to see how humans should experience literature within themselves. Exploration of universal themes. So always literature will concentrate on every poetry you read or every drama you read, every short story you read, all under the theme where love, identity, justice, good, evil, isolation, self-discovery. What is self-discovery doing in literature? So when you read a poetry or when you read a drama or when you go read a short story or whatever it is, you will understand the story and you can relate the story or you can relate the character with your own self. Say for example, if one heroic character is there, if that character's deeds is so resembled to you that you will understand the character and also you could connect with you to that character. Okay? Then reflection of human condition, what it means to be a human. So how you see a movie, you go to a movie and then if any one character, if it is related to you or if that character deeds is very accurate or it is what the character doing is what exactly you like, then what do you say? You feel like that's me. That is how literature also works. When you read it, when you absorb it, it will teach you how to be a good human. So every end of the movie when you see, you will learn something, right? It will give you a perspective of a different thing. Before that you may have a different perspective of something else and after seeing the movie you may have a different perspective on a particular thing or a topic. That's how literature also works. When you read completely a poetry or when you read completely a drama, when you absorb it into your life, it will give you a new perspective of your life. Also it will teach you how to be a good human. Say for example, when you read Pilgrim Progress for Matters, it will teach you how to be good, how to be loyal. Okay? And then literature as a mirror and a guide. Literature is a mirror of life. Okay? I've been telling you many times, literature is always teaching you life. Every time when you read, you will get a new perspective of your life or what to do with this, what not to do with this. Okay? Next. Cultural heritage and memory. Literature as a vessel for cultural preservation. When we talk about oral tradition, if literature is not there, many literature would have failed, destroyed. Only literature is the only vessel that compiles everything, put life in it. Okay, that is how literature is saving everything. Safeguarding oral tradition, as I have already told you, language preservation and fostering identity. So literature is the only thing that helps to safeguard the language. When we talk about Tamil, for instance, Tamil is the ancient language. How do we see, or how do we say, or how can we prove it's an ancient language? Through literature. Literature and history. Literature reflects the historical context in which it was created, embodying the social, cultural, political and economic climates of its time. So when you read a historical novel, or when you read a historical poetry, or whatever it is, you understand the historical time period. Say for example, when you read Henry or when you read Edward, you will understand how people lived in those days. Okay, that is how it is connected to literature. History and literature, that is how it is connected. Understanding the historical background. So as I have already told you, when you read a historical book or when you read any historical written piece, literature piece, you will understand the historical background, how kings in those period lived, how people in those period lived, how people reacted to such things. Say for example, the best example I could give you is Ponniyin Selvan. It was also converted as a movie. So when you read Ponniyin Selvan, what do you know? We already know there is a king whose name was Ponniyin Selvan. How could you prove it? Through literature. It was made into a novel. Okay. Next, literary texts serve historical documents. Only literary piece, not only literary piece. When you take a literature, when you take a historical documents, you may have a king's name, to which period and from which period and to which period he have ruled, and then at what age he died, at what age he started reign, everything you will see. But instance, literature also give you such details, but in a very entertainment way. Like when you read a history, you may feel a little boring that you may have to read the life history of someone else. But when you go through any historical literary novel or historical literary drama, you will enjoy it, like how you see a historical movie. Okay. Literature and philosophy. So far we saw how literature and history were interconnected. Now we are going to see how philosophy and literature is interconnected. Complementary methods. Literature provides a vivid, nuanced portrayal of philosophical themes, while philosophy offers the conceptual framework. So when you go read a philosophical books as such, you may have the frames, you may know what all philosophies you have. But in instance, when you go read a philosophical novel, a philosophical poetry, drama, whatever it is, you may also get a story, you may also enjoy reading it. By the way, you will also get to know what is philosophy by reading it through a character. A character may have different perspectives. Through that, through their mindset, through their way of living, you will understand what is philosophy. Yes, maximum of the philosophy, they concentrate on good, on evil and everything. Okay. Philosophy in literary characters. Literary figures embody philosophical claims and problems, offering the narratives that probe questions of identity, morality and existence. So philosophy concentrates on questioning, how to question what is right. When you know what is right or when you know what is wrong, you have to question. Okay, maximum of the philosophers you see, they always question life. Why I should do this, why I should not do this, why it does happen, why I should have done this. Everything begins with a question. Okay, and then it is about morality. Morality, what is morality? It is about being loyal, good, evil, everything. Existence. Next, literature, art and culture. Visual literary. As I've already told, I've also given you a example of Ponniyin Selvan. It is like that. So many painters, artists, sculptors, they've made their masterpiece or they've made their work by inspiration of the literature. Okay. Mutual inspiration and cross-media influence. Literature has inspired various art forms including painting, sculpture and music. Literature and science. When you read science, till then, since it's a first year's paper, you would have read science as a subject. So science will have about plants, animals. In chemistry, you will have about the equations and everything. What is science doing in literature? You also have science fictions. Okay, a fiction will give you a story. You will feel nice when you read it. It will have a character, it will have a plot. Within the character, within the plot, it will give you a scientific concepts. Okay, so by it you will also read or you will also understand the scientific concepts with the story. Okay. Next, empathy. Empathy. Yes, empathy and ethics. What is empathy? In general, what is empathy? Empathy is you feeling what the other persons feel. You will understand or you feel the same what other person is going through. That's empathy. So when you read a literary piece, you see a character or you like a character or you connected to that character, you feel the same how the character would have felt. Yes, that's empathy. Okay. Diversity in English literature. Diversity refers to the inclusion of multiple culture, background and perspective. What is diversity doing in literature? We'll see. Major literary works expand beyond dominant narratives to represent varied voices. Authors like Zohra, Arundhati Roy and Salman Rushdie, they all concentrate on writing about marginalized people. So when you see diversity, people who concentrate on writing about the marginalized people who concentrate about the best example I could give is Dalit literature, Black African literature, the literature that concentrates about black life, everything that will give you an idea or that will give you a picturization of how people were oppressed, how their life was changed, how they were dominated by the white society, how they were dominated by the so-called hierarchy. Okay. Next, inclusive literature offers relatable characters and stories underrepresented groups, fostering and connection, belonging. Historical and literary canon excluded marginalized voices. Modern efforts increasingly promote inclusion. So what is inclusive for matters? You give space for everyone. Equal space is given. When in literature, you have to concentrate on, I'm not saying you have to, there are writers who concentrate on marginalized community. Say for example, as I've already told you, it's about Dalit literature, African literature and many literature that concentrates about African literature also. They concentrate about the marginalized community. When you see women's writing, maximum of the women writers will concentrate or they'll give you an idea of how women were oppressed, how they were marginalized within the community, how women dominate another women, how women dominated by the other men. Gender in English. So in the previous slide I've told you about women's literature. You see, gender construction and representation have evolved with literature, both reinforcing challenging gender roles. Early texts often depict women as inferior. Yes, earlier during the 18th or 17th centuries, literature was given as a poetry, drama, play, whatever it is. But the women in those stories, the women in those dramas, the women in those poetries, they were shown in a very inferior position. Say for example, all the women, there will be a woman in the whole story. What they do? They cook, they raise children and then they die. Again, she'll beget another woman child and she'll grow up, she'll get married to another person and she'll cook, she'll raise children and she'll die. Okay, that is how women is shown in the earlier period. Now everything has changed. When you take any of the African literature that matters, they'll show you how women were treated. They're treated as a machine that gives reproduction, or they're treated as an animal. What animals do? They live, they survive, they eat and then they reproduce. That is how women were treated during that days. Next example also, during the Shakespeare period, when you go read it, during Shakespeare period, there was no women allowed to enact the women's character. The women's character that you see in all the Shakespeare's play, they were enacted by the men. The boys who are under 18, the boys who are 13, 14 years, they are enacted as the female characters. That is how most of the Shakespearean play, they have disguise. Say for example, Portia, for instance, Portia in the story comes as a disguise as an advocate. Okay, so what Shakespeare it is easy to transform a man to in a disguise as a man. Okay, that is how he has choose such character. Culture and community. Literary works explore interplay of culture, tradition, community in shaping their identity and social structure. Narratives by authors from different backgrounds showcase varied cultural experience, addressing themes like migration, colonization and diaspora. So when you go through a literature which is under colonization or which is under migration, you will understand their life, you will understand their pain, you will go through the same pain if you would have felt same. If you are a person who is from another state, who are coming in, staying in different place, or if you're an Indian, you are going and staying in a different country, or if you're a Sri Lankan, you are staying in a different country, you are reading a marginalized story, or you are reading a story or a novel that is about migration or colonization, you will understand, you could easily relate to that story. That is how writers who write about this, they'll give you the background, they'll showcase the background of such lifestyle to the readers. Okay, as I've already told you, the culture, tradition, community. So it will give you the idea, or it will give you a way to explore the culture. When you're reading an American novel, for instance, it will give you a way so that you can explore the culture. When you read an American novel, or when you read an American poetry, you will know how the people how they lived in those days. And then about community. Say for example, I'm giving an example of Dalit literature. You are reading a Dalit literature story. Okay, you are undergoing. You are reading a Dalit literature story. You are going through it. You see a character who is from a hierarchy, who is from a higher standard, or who is from a higher community. Dalit literature always Dalit literature concentrate on Dalit people. Okay, the people who are in low standard, people who were oppressed by the higher community. So when you read it, you will understand their pain. It will give you an idea, or it will give you the perspective of their life. Before reading that Dalit literature, you may feel that being Dalit is not a big problem. They will receive the reservation, they have this benefits, that benefits, this, that, everything. But when you go through, read it, what do you undergo? You undergo what their forefathers would have gone through, what problems they had. Okay, so the perspective itself changes when you read through a different culture. And about identity. So why it has to be Dalit? Why Dalit literature has started? Why it should be given? Why it is given as a written form? Why they have written and published it? For what reason? They are creating they are recording it. Okay, they are recording their identity. They are recording that they live. There are people who are from this community who live like this, who are oppressed by so and so community. So they are building, or they are showing their identity to you. Boundaries and binaries. What is boundaries and binaries doing in literature? Boundaries in literature can be literal or metaphorical, reflecting the division, place, identity or ideology. What are boundaries? Boundaries that concentrate on, when you read Tamil literature, that concentrates only on Tamil culture, or when you read an Indian literature, that will concentrate only on Indian literature or Indian lifestyle and the Indian perspective. That is called as boundaries. So when you go through, when you go globalization, when you read anything that is related to globalization, that's about everything. So this is what boundaries is doing here. Next, writing across genres. Writing genres from poetry, drama to novels and essays engage with empathy, ethics and diversity. What is cross genre doing here? Cross genre experimentation broadens their reach, modulates voices and themes. When we mix two genres, say for example, if it is about war and also it is about a comical thing. What comics doing in war poetry? Not in war poetry. When you read a poetry, or when you read a drama, if there is a character who is introduced as a comical character, why it is mentioned? Because a reader who is reading those war poetry, or reader who is reading the war drama, or the drama which is concentrate on war, they'll have some relaxation on, and then this character will introduce to relax or to ease the readers from that stress of taking the stress of the characters. So as a conclusion, we are going to sum up everything that we see in the video. Literature and humanities provide us with a profound insights. So literature will give you a different insight of what is life is all about. It will give you a perspective of life. It will teach you how to live a human life, how to be a good human, what to do to others, what not to do others. Everything literature will teach you. Okay. Also, it will develop your critical thinking. When you read literature, you will love to write also. When you started writing, you will think. Okay, that is how your critical thinking also develops. And then it will foster inclusivity and diversity. Not only enriches literature but also promotes the social change, empathy, and broadens the society. So when you are the person who reads literature, and you change the life's perspective, you suggest that to the other person, and his life or her life changes. That is how, on the whole, the society will change. The perspective of society will change. The attitude of society will change. So literature will help you how to be a good human on the whole.